Assalamu alaikum students. Today this is our first lecture. In our last lecture, like in our first class, we've discussed the course contents, and today we are going to formally start our first topic, that is introduction, objectives, history and scope of plant sciences. So the current slide is showing all the course contents that we are going to cover throughout the semester, and we've already discussed all these contents in detail in our last lecture. In this lecture we are going to talk about the introduction, objectives and the brief history of plant sciences, and then we will also be discussing the early and current trends in plant biology and its scope. Okay, then sub-disciplines and applied disciplines of plant biology will also be studied, and finally we'll be talking of introduction, objectives and strategies of plant improvement, followed by challenges that are being faced by this field currently. Plant biology and botany are the other names for plant sciences. And you all know very well that botany is the scientific study of plant life. Okay, so everything about plants is discussed in this branch of science, like botany, plant biology or plant science. Botany or plant biology covers a wide range of scientific disciplines that study plants, like their structure, growth, reproduction, metabolic processes, development, and diseases of plants. All this is discussed in botany or plant biology. Then chemical properties and evolutionary relationships between different plant groups is also studied in this field. Okay. Then what are the objectives to study plant biology, or why do we need to study plants? Okay. We do need to study plants to understand different forms of plants. Okay. Then to identify different species, like various species of trees in classification. Okay. Then we study plants to understand their interrelationship that is discussed in ecology, like plant ecosystem interaction. Okay, then we also study their role in altering food chain. As we know that plants are the primary consumers. Okay, and if plants get disturbed by certain factors, like either these are environmental abiotic stresses or the living factors like the biotic stresses, the whole food chain will also be disturbed. Okay, we also study plantation management and wildlife management in plant biology. So these are the various objectives to study plant biology. Alright students, this is a brief history of plant biology. Like Theophrastus was an author around 300 BC who wrote books on plants and on the causes of the plants. Okay, then Dioscorides provided important evidence on Greek and Roman knowledge of medicinal plants. You all know very well that Robert Hooke discovered cells in cork in 1665, along with the discovery of microscope. Okay, then various scientists from Germany, Swiss authors and the British authors, they wrote different books, and they published uh, the book by the name of Herbals that provided information on the medicinal uses of the plants. So this is a brief history, and students, you don't need to memorize exactly the dates. You just need to know who was the one who discovered cells, or who wrote a book on the history of the plants, and etc. Okay. Alright, then early plant biology originated as herbalism. So this is a field of plant biology that comprises of the study and use of plants for their medicinal properties. Early plant biology work have been found in ancient literature dating back to before 1100 BC. Then in 18th century, plant identification system was developed in which the identified plants can be placed in different taxonomic groups. George Mendel and Weizmann also uh, studied the plant heredity during 18th century. Then Catherine Esau was the one who worked on plant anatomy that provided the major foundation of modern plant biology or the botany. Okay, so this was a brief history of plant biology or plant sciences or botany. Okay. Alright students, let's discuss the scope and importance of plants. Like, why do we need to study plants? Because we all know that plants are a fundamental part of life on earth. Everything that we are currently using comes from plants, like food, feed, even medicines to treat diseases, then fiber for cloths, the wood for furniture, and oxygen to survive. Like, everything comes from plants. Okay, that's why it is said that plants are the fundamental unit of life on earth. Plants can also absorb carbon dioxide through the process of photosynthesis. They release oxygen that is used by the animals and the human beings for their survival, for the process of in the process of respiration. Okay, then evolution of plants has changed the global atmosphere of the earth early in the earth's history. Okay. Paleobotany is another branch of plant biology that deals with the study of the fossil plants. Okay, so paleobotany study ancient plants in the fossil record. Okay, so this slide describes plants produce food to feed an expanding population. Understanding we do study the plants to understand the fundamental life processes, because they produce medicines and materials to treat diseases and other ailments, and to understand the environmental changes. Even plants or plants can be used to detect environmental pollution. If you know about one of the associations between plants and algae, that is known as lichens. That lichens are used to detect the environmental pollution because their color turns pinkish when they absorb the environmental or toxins. Okay, so that's how we can detect the level of environmental pollution with the help of plants. That's why plants are really important and they play a significant role in our life. Okay. As far as the current trends in plant biology are concerned, there are various plants that are being used as the model organisms to study extensively various forms of the plants. like Arabidopsis thaliana is one of the weedy species in the mustard family that is used as a model plant. Its whole genome has been sequenced, and once you study the different genes or the various aspects in Arabidopsis thaliana, you can apply this research on your crops. Okay, then rice is another plant that is being used as a model organism, and the voice genome has also been sequenced. Okay, another grass species, Brachypodium, is also emerging as an experimental model for understanding the genetics. Okay, among trees, poplars are used as the model organisms. Okay, the plant science has emerged drastically from basic plant biology to ecology. Many sub branches have evolved, such as plant molecular studies to evolutionary statistics. Okay, thus this has improved the scope of this field, opening up many challenges in the field. Okay, the recognition that it is increasingly difficult for specialists to keep up to date with the expanding volume of information getting updated. Okay. Now this slide again describes that we've just discussed that plants are also the source of medicines. Okay, different medicines are being produced from the plants these days. Like aspirin is one of the examples that contains salicylic acid as an active ingredient that also comes from the plants. Okay, then various anti-cancer drugs have also been produced from the plants. Like there is a plant by the name of Taxus cuspidata. It produces an anti-cancer drug that is known as Taxol. Okay, and its active ingredient is taxine. Okay, that drug is used to treat breast cancers in females. Okay, that is why plants are highly important. Okay. Then in plant biology, along with the plants, we also study the other organisms as well, like to find out the interaction between the microbes and the plants. Okay, like the study of fungi is known as mycology. Then we also study like microbiology, that is the study of bacteria and viruses, and then uh, algae the is also studied under the heading of in the field of plant biology, and the study of algae is known as phycology. Okay. Okay, students, now we are going to discuss the subdisciplines of plant biology, and one of the subdisciplines of plant biology is plant molecular biology that involves the study of structures and functions of important biological molecules like the macromolecules that are proteins, nucleic acids, etc. Okay, then the next subdiscipline of plant biology is plant cell biology, that is the study of structures, functions, and all the life processes that are occurring inside the plant cells. Okay, these all are studied in plant cell biology. Plant physiology is another field of plant botany in which we study the various plant functions like the process of photosynthesis, mineral nutrition, and everything related to physiology of the plants is studied in plant physiology. Plant genetics is another branch that deals with the plant heredity and variation. Okay. Plant ecology is another field of plant biology in which we study the interaction among the plants and between the plants and with their environment. Okay, like ecosystem is studied in the branch of plant ecology. Okay, then this slide shows all the applied disciplines of plant science, in which currently extensive research is being carried out. Like the major field is the agriculture, and its minor disciplines include agronomy, biotechnology, breeding, economic botany, forestry, horticulture, and plant pathology. Okay, agriculture is the science, art, or practice of cultivating the soil, producing different crops, raising livestock, and in varying degrees the preparation and marketing of the resulting products. Like everything, like including animal husbandry, forestry, horticulture, agronomy comes under the branch of agriculture. Okay, where agronomy is the crop and the study of crop and soil science. Okay, agronomists make practical use of plant and soil sciences to increase the yield of field crops. Biotechnology, that is the branch of science that is using biological organisms to produce useful products. Plant biotechnology involves inserting like desirable genes into the plants and having those genes expressed. Okay, like in biotechnology, cloning also comes in biotechnology. Like you take the desirable genes from one species and you can introduce into another one. Okay, like for example, uh, if one plant is having a gene that is responsible for the good yield but is susceptible to the biotic stresses or the pathogens, okay, but there is another plant species that is producing high yield, good quality seeds, but is and also resistant to pathogens. Okay, then what would you do in biotechnology? You would take uh, this resistant genes from this plant species and you would introduce into another plant that was having good yield but was susceptible to the pathogens. Now you would be having another new plant species that is producing high yield, best quality seeds, as well as uh, is the resistant to the pests and diseases. Okay, so that is how in biotechnology you can introduce desirable genes from one species to another through the process of cloning or other biotechnological processes to produce the best plant varieties, okay, in a short span of time. While in case of breeding or in ancient days, the development of a new variety was taking too long, like several years. Okay, so biotechnology has benefited the mankind by reducing the time to get the best varieties in a short span time. Okay, breeding is the development of better types of plants. Breeding involves selecting and crossing plants with desirable traits such as disease resistance. Okay, economic botany includes the plants with commercial importance. Economic botany includes the study of harmful and beneficial plants and plant products. Okay, forestry that deals with the forest management for the production of timber and conservation. Okay, then horticulture is the study of ornamental plants, fruits, and vegetable crops. Okay, and then plant pathology is another field of plant biology that is very important, because in this branch we study the diseases of the plants, then changes which occur with the diseases in plants. Plant pathologists are concerned with both the biological aspects of the diseases and with the disease management or control. Like different various diseases of the plants are studied in plant pathology, and you also study the interaction between the plants, the pathogens, and the environment. Okay, if we talk about the pathogens, there are different types of the pathogens that can cause diseases in plants. So this is not including in your slide. This is an additional information I'm giving you guys. Like if we talk about the pathogens, there are two major categories of the pathogens. The first one is based on the mode of nutrition. Okay, so based on mode of nutrition, there are three types of pathogens. The biotrophic pathogens that feed on the living organisms. Okay, then the necrotrophic pathogens that feed on the dead organic matter. Necro means dead. Okay, then hemibiotrophic pathogens are the pathogens that first feed on the living material, but if living material is no more available, they can shift to feed on the dead organic matter. That is why they are known as hemibiotrophic pathogens. Okay, so based on mode of nutrition, three types of pathogens: biotrophic, necrotrophic, and hemibiotrophic pathogens. The second category of the pathogens is based on the mode of action. Okay, and there are two types of pathogens: the virulent and avirulent pathogens. Virulent are the ones that have the ability to cause diseases in plants, while avirulent are the pathogens that that may not be able to cause diseases in plants. Okay, so these are the two major categories of the plant pathogens. Also, there is a difference between a parasite and a pathogen. Okay, pathogen is an organism that always causes a disease, while parasite is an organism that may or may not cause a disease. Okay, students, if we talk about the plant improvement, what is plant improvement? It is the selection and development of the plants with enhanced performance than the existing genotypes of the plants that we just discussed in our previous slides. Okay, in early plant improvement, no scientific methodologies were involved. and that was done only on the basis of the field performance. Like the plants that were performing best, they were cross bred, okay, and the process was taking too long, sometimes several years, to develop or to produce a new variety. But in case of systematic plant improvement, you can improve the heredity of the crops through the various biotechnological approaches in a short span of time. Okay, like the production of new crop cultivars, which and this technology or this method is far better than the uh, ancient approaches. Okay, this systematic plant improvement is also referred to as plant breeding. Plant breeding is the art and science of improving the heredity of the plants for the benefit of the mankind, and the goal of the plant breeder is to change the heredity of the plant, in a way that will improve plant performance. And the basics of plant breeding strategies are to identify the morphological, physiological, and pathological traits in a cultivated plant species that contribute to its adaptation, health, productivity, and suitability for food, fiber, or industrial products. Plant breeders first they search out new genes that encode for desired traits in different strains of the cultivated species and their close relatives. Then they combine the genes for the desired traits into an improved cultivar through traditional breeding or new biotechnological procedures. Okay. Then their performance, like the performance of the new cultivars, is assessed. Okay, in comparison with the present cultivars. Okay, and then these new cultivars are distributed after they are commercially produced. Okay, now what are the aims and objectives of the plant improvement? These are to produce higher yield, to get better quality, to improve shape, size, color, nutrition, taste, etc. And then to increase and to enhance the resistance of the plants to biotic and abiotic stresses. Then crop duration, early or late maturity as desired. Like there are certain varieties that can mature earlier than their time, and that is how they can escape the onset of the particular disease. Okay, growth habit can also be improved, like height, type, etc. Winter hardiness to bear the harsh weather. Then lodging resistance. Lodging is the like lodging of the plants can also be improved. Like if plants are harder or plants are strong enough to bear the strong wind, okay, they can avoid or they can resist the lodging process. Okay, like falling of the plants. Then to get high fertilizer responsiveness, easier threshability, like there are certain plant varieties that are not easy to thresh, that can also be improved through the various biotechnological approaches, wider adaptability, and mechanized harvesting. All these are aims and main aims and objectives of plant improvement. Currently, the challenges that are being faced by plant biology are the improved nutrition, increased crop yield, resistance to pests, sustainable biofuels, and serious environmental problems. Okay. Currently, extensive research is being carried out to study the various molecular aspects of the plants, like at gene level, messenger RNA level, protein level, and even at the metabolite level. Okay, the study of genes is known as genome, and the field is known as genomics. Okay, the study of messenger RNA is known as transcriptome, and the field is known as transcriptomics. Then the study of proteins is known as proteome, and the field is known as proteomics. And the metabolomes are studied in like metabolites are studied in a field of in a branch of metabolome, and the field is known as metabolomics. All these four fields are combinedly known as omics. Okay, like omics is the study of genes or genome, transcriptome, proteome, and metabolomic level. Okay. So this was all about today's lecture. Now, if you have any question or query, you can ask me during an interactive session that will be done on Wednesday at 12 o'clock.